Hello, and welcome back to another episode of In Living Spanglish podcast. I am your hostess with the mediocre mostest. Nah, I'm just joshing you. I'm pretty alright. And who is also equally as alright is my co-host here, Ricardo Mexicano. On a scale of 1 to 10, how sweaty are you right now, Mexicano?
I feel like I'm at the usual sweat level that I'm always am.
Really? Because you were rushing pretty fast before we started.
Well, it was for a good reason.
Yeah.
I'm more excited than sweaty.
But sometimes excitedness and sweatiness come hand in hand.
They do, and I'm not saying that the sweatiness has completely dissipated from me, but, it's not overbearing.
So, scale of 1 to 10, how sweaty?
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit above average.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Adequate sweating. Okay. All right. Oh.
So, ILS, you already know what it is, Mexican Nazi, Ricardo Mexicano. We got a great show for you again. This is what is today, the 14th?
Mm-hmm.
So today, the second to last day before Hispanic Heritage Month ends.
Damn,
and
it went by fast.
Yeah, so tomorrow's the last day. Unfortunately, we couldn't get you guests last week, but this week we have somebody else in store. Somebody that is very vital to the community as far as, food and stuff like that, and just, providing that sustenance, for the people,
Yeah, that's all very interesting. Hold up 1 second before you finish your fancy schmancy intro. Is we didn't do Latinx Birthdays yet.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
you're right.
okay.
We'll go ahead, and then we'll go into our interview.
Yeah. Let's do that. If we had an effect sound, it would be the backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Who we got?
Happy birthday to Sherilyn Gonzalez. So she was born on October 1984. She's actually 36 years old, and she is a Mexican singer and actress from Mexico, just formerly known as just Sherilyn. And she is known for playing Sofia in Marisol and some other show called Clase 406, which that one I hadn't heard about. But happy 36th birthday, Sherilyn Gonzalez. And all right.
So let's not waste any more time. We'll get into who this person actually is once we start the interview. All right, so here we go. All right. Hey, you can see us?
Hey, I can see you.
All right, cool. So,
okay.
ILS podcast, like we said, we are here with Chef Eliazar Salinas.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right.
Yes, sir.
So, say again?
Chef Eliazar Salinas.
Yes. Is it, do you have anything before chef? Is it like master chef or anything like that?
Nah, man, I'm a street chef, man. I learned watching my mom in the kitchen, my abuela. I'm not classically trained. I wanted to go to school, but
yeah,
the cards didn't fall down that way.
Okay, so just organic, straight from the tierra.
Just the love of cooking, man. When all the kids were outside playing and stuff, man, I sat my ass right next to my abuela, next to my mom, and was fascinated by what they were doing.
I love that.
No, that's dope. That's dope.
Okay, so proper intro, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know.
Oh no, this is the part where we pretend that we haven't been talking for the past 20 minutes and going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's okay. It'll all be in post.
Yeah, for sure. So for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Eliazar Salinas, he is the owner and creator, right, of Frezko Tacos, located here in Fort Worth. And what other locations do you have? Because I know it's more than one.
So Frezko Taco Spot started out of all places in South Lake, Texas, where no one thought I could make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I opened my second one in North Fort Worth, far North Fort Worth in the Alliance area off of North Tarrant Parkway, 3409.
Yep.
North Tarrant Parkway. And then now we have our newest location that I opened last December.
Wow.
And that's in the Colony, right off of San Rayburn Tollway.
Okay.
Right in front of Top.
Okay, so yeah, the one I'm familiar with is the one in off of North Tarrant Parkway. That's the one I know of. Yeah.
One?
Yep,
Yes, sir.
So, but the way we got word of you was actually through the taco truck. Actually, that was present over at Centro Popular, the festival that Smooth set up a couple months back.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys had some tacos out that way?
Somewhat. We'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we that's where we first kind of like heard of you was seeing the taco truck there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah, Smooth. With his events, man, he's always been good, man, and keeping us in the loop. So he'll let us do a bunch of stuff with him.
Yeah, you couldn't really get away. Like every couple minutes after like a set, you would hear him like kind of like shouting you out, like, "Yeah, hey, everybody, go to the back. You know, make sure to get some tacos."
Man, if you want anybody on your team, Smoothvega.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude right there, man. If he believes in you and he rides with you, man, that dude rides with you, man. Good people right there.
So you kind of touched in, you know, kind of a little bit about your beginnings as far as like your love for food and like your mom, your abuela, and all that, showing you, you know, what it is to like, you know, how to make food, you know, how to create it. But where did the interest as far as like a business standpoint kind of come from to like, hey, I want to do this. I want to be able to like, you know, make some legitimate money off of doing something I love.
Yeah, well, back in the day, my father owned a bar in Detroit on the southwest side. It was called Cerralbo Bar and Grill. And when I was young, you know, I would walk over there, me and my brother, and, you know, I would wash dishes. And my mom would make menudo and for all the borrachos and stuff, man, on the weekend. So, you know, watching my mom make menudo and all that stuff, and my father running his bar business. I mean, they got into that business because they were both working for General Motors and they got laid off. So, you know, I'm a product of being born on welfare, you know what I mean? So my parents lost their job, you know, I remember, you know, standing in government cheese lines and stuff when I was just a little kid, you know, and my father was able to open up a bar while they were, you know, back and forth with General Motors. And, you know, that's where my love of business. I fell in love with restaurants with this restaurant in Detroit. It's famous. I mean, Anthony Bourdain even did a thing before he passed away and all that. And it was called Dooley's Coney Island. And that's where my love of restaurants actually came from, because I used to sit up in there with my dad when I used to go walk to school at Holy Redeemer. And old man Dooley, he used to always give me a donut. And he's like, make sure you finish this whole donut, you know, because you don't leave no food on the plate. And so, and he would take me to the back of the kitchen and he'd show me how to make the omelets, how to make the hash browns. You know, I was just a kid, you know what I mean? And it was so fascinating. And that restaurant, if you ever go to Detroit, it's iconic. I mean, it's been around since, you know, anything could be around and stuff. And, you know, and it has such great history. That's why Anthony Bourdain went there, because it's known throughout the world, you know, Dooley's Coney Island. And that's really where my love came from for restaurants. And I actually imitated my first restaurant that I opened for Frezko, because I've owned another restaurant before this, failed miserably. But you got to learn. You know, it's like anything. So when I opened Frezko, I went back to my roots and I opened it to mimic how Dooley's looked like. It was all bar seating and 3 tables in the back. And that's how I opened my first restaurant for Frezko.
Okay,
Wow.
that's interesting. So Detroit, that's not really a place you really hear as far as because you're Mexican, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when I think of Detroit, you know, Motown, you automatically think of like the music. You think of like, you know, Motown records.
Deep dish pizza.
Yeah, Detroit style pizza, all that. So like when I hear like, and I think I overheard a little bit the conversation you have with Veronica as far as like,
got into it before we started recording, but
as far as like Mexicans being there. So is it like a pretty, well, at least maybe back then not so much, but I'm assuming now probably a lot bigger, like as far as the Mexican population, all that.
Yeah, so you know, southwest side Detroit. I mean, there's 2 streets really. It's Mexican Town, Mexican Village area, and well, Mexican Town, and you know, there was iconic There's still an iconic restaurant there. It's La Villa, which is Mexican Village. It's owned by people that we know and also some family members of ours that, you know, from my father's side. And I mean, that thing is iconic, man. It's been in Detroit for, God, I don't even know. It's been so long. And little by little, it started piecing together Mexican Town. And, you know, Werner Highway in Detroit, you know, little by little started becoming more Mexican. There was more, you know, Albanians, Polish, Irish people in those areas, African American, a little bit more up on Grand Boulevard. But then it started just, man, influxing the Mexican little by little. But then whenever all those crazy laws started passing in California, all the Cali people came down to Detroit. That's when it really exploded to, you know, what it is now, where there's way more Mexicans over there. But, you know, back in the, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, I mean, there was only really people from Nuevo León and a couple families from other parts of Mexico, but it was mainly like Nuevo León, man. It was people from Treviño, Cerralbo, Agualueguas. It was crazy because a lot of those people all lived on one street, and it was how we all came up. We used to all go to each other's birthday parties. We also used to party at when all the kids, we used to all have to wear a red jacket, but we would have birthday parties at Burger King and McDonald's and stuff like that back in the days in the 80s and shit, man. So,
with the little paper crown from Burger King. Yeah. You already know.
I was looking fly with a red jacket. I had a mullet. I was looking fly. Like now, the kids are wearing that shit today. Back then, I was looking fly though.
Mm-hmm. And that's crazy because that sounds almost like the way you were talking about Nuevo León and to Detroit. It's almost like how there's a lot of people from like Durango and like Chicago. And then
yeah. So all the people, when people started moving more east and stuff from Cali, Chicago, then you get a big influx of Durango people and stuff, and they brought their influence of food into the area, because they have a whole other type of food. I mean, Mexico, when it comes to cuisine and food in general, it's like so vast. Every area's got its own swing to it. It's not like over here in the United States, it was like, oh, we got Tex-Mex, or, we got Cali style. Like, man, that's generic. I mean, over there, man, every freaking region of Mexico's got their own thing. And
Oaxaca, a little bit of everything.
Man, I think anybody who's living in life, before they die, like the bucket list, you got to go to like Oaxaca, all those cool places down in Mexico and just go try the food.
Oh, hell yeah. That's literally on my bucket list. Like, you'll open up a Word document of mine. Oaxaca is on there for sure. Man.
They say, for me being a chef, that's somewhere that they've always been like, you got to go. For me, I'm going to take my son, and me and him are just going to go and just try everything. Like for us, we went to California from San Diego almost up to San Francisco. We drove up the one, up the coast, and I went to try every single Baja-style fish taco because I wanted to learn how to make the best fish taco.
That's awesome. How old's your son? How old's your son?
He is 11.
He's 11. Has he taken up on your love of food like you?
Man, this dude does his own reviews on Yelp. He's vicious.
Hey, I love that. Oh my god, I do too. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
He's a foodie in his own right. He's
hell yeah.
And pretty articulate with how he says things. I'm very bad at school and all that stuff, English, and learning how to do all that stuff. English was my second language and stuff. When I was growing up as a kid, we always spoke Spanish in the house, and then you start breaking it when you go to school and going back and forth and stuff. But his English, the way he writes, he corrects me. He's like, no, Dad, you got to use a comma. Or no, Dad, that's not how you're supposed to write this. I'm like, man, come on, kid. Like, let me shine or something.
Yeah. And so is he as opinionated as you told me as far as the difference between tacos and tacos? Because we all know the difference between tacos and tacos. But,
he won't step foot into Chipotle. Like, he'll be like, nah, like I'll be messing with him. Like, come on, let's go get some Chipotle. He's like, looking at me like, come on, Dad, really, Dad? I was like, oh, man. I took him one time to Freebirds and he was disgusted.
What about Taco Bell? What's he got to say about Taco Bell?
Okay, so this is my thing about Taco Bell, because when you come to the suburbs, when you're from, Barrio, and you eat at taquerias and stuff, well, there's no more taquerias around you. And when I got moved out here from Detroit, my parents, God bless, and they pulled us out of the hood, and we moved into a real nice area in HEB in North Texas. And, and there weren't taquerias back then over here. It was Taco Bell. So I got introduced to Taco Bell in Texas, and I was like, man, that's not too bad. Because I was a kid, it was fast, it was easy, and especially because it was fast and super cheap. Man, we used to buy all kinds of Taco Bell. But then, when I got older, and my parents and my dad, and started cruising me out to, Barrio Northside and into Dallas and to all the other areas. When I got a little bit older, and started to eat, tacos and the taquerias in the outskirts. Well, not in the outskirts from me, but in the cities. And that's when I was like, man, forget Taco Bell. But I still eat me some Taco Bell, don't get me wrong.
Pero see,
it's his own thing.
That's like, what literally.
It's not Mexican food. It's just his own thing.
It's like its own little genre. It's not awesome. Our food, but it's its own food in its own right. You know, so you can't knock it.
Taco Bell pass.
Yeah.
I don't give a pass to is all the new guys are coming in. You know, the Freebirds, the Chipotles,
The Austin City
Fuzzy
tacos.
tacos. Where the hell the freaking taco place is called? Torchies.
Torchies,
Yeah.
You know, all fake tacos and stuff. Where you're making hamburger tacos or chicken fried tacos. You know, it drives me
Alligator
nuts.
tacos. Well, alligator tacos one. I don't know.
I don't know. That sounds
know.
interesting. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that would go. Maybe.
You could try. I'm not messing with that.
So.
I had steak though. Víbora.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming. So you left Detroit. I'm assuming fairly young before moving.
Yeah. So I left Detroit at a younger age. You know, grade school age. They gave my parents an opportunity to move down to Texas to the Arlington plant. They were working up in Detroit in the LulaRich plant. But, you know, back in the early 90s when, you know, gas was going crazy and the country was barely getting off of Reaganomics and all that stuff. And, you know, it was kind of tight. You know, it was when General Motors and Ford were all kind of struggling and stuff. And they started shutting down plants in Michigan. They gave my parents the opportunity. And my mom and dad were like, well, shit, we're going to be closer to Mexico. You know, because imagine coming all the way from Detroit.
Making that drive.
Yeah. Mexico, man. Those trips when I was a kid were brutal, man. Jeez, mm-hmm. I love chorizo and huevo sandwiches, though, because of it.
Is that what you guys packed up to eat inside the coche?
Yeah, chorizo and huevo, man. My dad was horrible about stopping. But you know where he would stop? There's two places. He would stop in Chicago for Totonicos, which anybody, if you're in Chicago, you got to stop at Totonicos. It's iconic. Then we would drive all the way from Chicago to almost to San Antonio, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
And then post up at Taco Cabana.
Taco Cabana? Really?
Yeah, because he was like, this is like the Texas taco. Like, I don't know why he loved that thing. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Maybe it was his version of Taco Bell. Who knows? We'll give him a pass.
For him, he don't mess with Taco Bell. I mean, he'll eat it if it's there, but he'll be mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we used to go so far, and the only thing we had was freaking chorizo and huevo and white Wonder Bread. Mm. You know, that was our snack all the way down there.
Yeah. So how many years have you been in Fort Worth then? So
on and off in Dallas Fort Worth area, been since '93. So on and off, and then I moved to Detroit for years spread out when I was a teenager, older teenager into my 20s, and then got into a little trouble and stuff, and ended up in Wichita, Kansas, believe it or not. And then from Wichita, went up to New York, New Jersey.
You've just been all over the place.
Yeah, you know, Mexico down to Nuevo León and stuff, but mainly it's been Detroit and mostly here in Texas now. I don't consider myself a Texan by all means. But yeah, Texas is my home.
Yeah.
Wouldn't think that though, tell you the truth.
Yeah. What about your abuela? Was she from Detroit? Is that where you grew up with her?
So my grandparents, my abuela Maria Salinas and my grandpa Eliazar Salinas, they're from Nuevo León. Well, my grandma's family comes from Michoacán, but they're from Nuevo León. That's where they were born, you know, raised in and all that. My grandpa was actually from a little town, like a little baby town, like one room school in Guadalupe, in Los Herreras in Nuevo León, and La Hacienda de Guadalupe. And my mom's family, my grandma comes from Mazatán, Sinaloa, and my grandpa comes from Cerralbo, Nuevo León, but they're all met right there in Cerralbo. But yeah, my grandparents, my grandpa migrated to Michigan back in the day because, you know, they were looking for work and he was in construction. And then he later on moved my dad and my grandma and all that stuff to Detroit. And that's when they eventually got into, my grandma got into Chrysler and my grandfather got into General Motors. Mm. And that's how my mom and my dad ended up getting into GM. It's because they were already working in there and you can get your family in.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So they were all within the same business. So in the kitchen, when you were with your mom and when you were with your abuela, do you remember the first thing you ever learned how to make?
Okay, so the first things I ever learned how to make was, you know, like the basics, you know, morning breakfast, you know, Whitest con huevo.
Mm-hmm. Your salchichas, right?
Huevo con las chichas.
Yeah, that's like his favorite thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still eat that. I still make that to dinner to this day.
I mean, if you haven't ate Winnie's and Wells, are you really Mexican?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are you really a broke Mexican también? Because that stuff will save you some money.
Oh man, that was some good stuff when I was growing up as a kid. I loved it. And so breakfast was always a big thing. But one of the main things I've always remembered was when they would bring in the cabeza de vaca. They would bring a baby cow's head, barbacoa. And then my grandma would be making, caldo de res or guisado. And that's where I kind of first got like wow, this is Mexican food. You got a big old cow's head on the table. You know what I mean? And just watching my grandma teaching my mom, because my grandma's my dad's mom. So my mom's mother-in-law would teach her a lot of stuff in the kitchen that she didn't really learn with her mom back in Mexico. And now she was married with, the son. So, started teaching them how to make food and stuff like that. And so that's kind of like where I kind of like got the love of watching them, because all the kids would go out and play, or if it was Easter, go hunt for the eggs and stuff like that, or any kind of holiday that we had. But I was like so fascinated by what was going on in the kitchen all the time. And I used to get run off, trust me, many times.
Yeah.
It was so cool just watching them work and how food brings everybody together. And no matter how much shit talking's going around, people drinking and stuff, but when we all sit down at the table, it like all goes out. And there can be some heated discussions at any family table, but it was really like almost a center point, like where you can just convene together and like be family. I miss those days. Now that we're here in Texas, we don't have that anymore. We used to do that every Sunday over there. You know what I mean? Every Saturday and Sunday, we were always with the familia in Detroit. When we moved out here to Texas, we came out here by ourselves. This brought us to nowhere land. I thought I was gonna watch people, riding horses everywhere when I got here.
With the little haze things rolling around.
Yeah, man. I was like, where are you moving us to? Like Texas. Like, Mom, we got
no cowboys.
And shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I was so terrified when they told us we were coming down here. Because I was like, man, we're so used to in Detroit. But yeah, that's how we ended up over here and stuff.
That's crazy. And you know what? I like your story really touches me. The fact that, you would be in the kitchen with your mom and your abuela while everybody was out playing, especially because we both know there's two tipos de mujeres when they're in the kitchen, because my mom was the same way. Like, I wanted to learn how to cook, but she would run me off. Like there's some that really want to teach you, and it's like, oh, do this, mijo, da da da, and it's like, no, get out, I'm working.
Yeah, de estorbas.
Sí, exactamente. So I guess like my question is that like growing up as a little boy with such a big interest in food and la cocina y todo eso, like, did you ever have to like fight any like machismo or did you ever have to come to terms with the fact that it was, what a lot of people see in our culture, as women's work or anything like that?
Well, not so much, because in Mexico, chefs are all men. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard to find a woman chef. And in most Mexican restaurants, like in Monterrey and stuff, like the high-end spots, you'd have like 5 waiters and it'd be all men. Where we're here in the United States, you think of waiters as more like females, right?
Yeah.
But in Mexico, it's like a whole other thing. So I think I don't know, I think it's different for our culture, because our culture kind of like, especially in the norte, you got the ranch handlers, cooking meat on a spit, where you get al pastor, you know what I mean? And cooking cabrito, where I'm from, cabrito's like, it's like the holy grail. You know what I mean? Especially in my part of Nuevo León. And so our food, it does kind of drive off of men in a way, ranchers, the hard, roughnecks that were out in the valle and stuff like that, or, working out and stuff like that in the fields or whatever it was. That's where you get barbacoa in the ground and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's more of a man's duty. You know what I mean? And you see mostly men in Mexico do that. You don't really see, women doing barbacoa in Mexico. It's usually a men thing,
Yeah.
Same with cabrito and all that stuff. The women's were more like, and that's the cool thing about Mexican culture. A lot of people don't talk about how Mexican men, even though there's machismo there, and Mexican women, how they respect the machismo, because that's the man of the house, and they respect that, that old school Mexican, you know what I mean? That what it was taught back in the day. But if you go back even further, back to Mexican Revolution days, Emiliano Zapata, all those guys, Mexican women were always on the battlefield with men. So, that's the margaritas, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mexican culture from man to woman, I mean, we have so much linked up together, and there's not so much like, I don't know, machismo is more like entre hombres. But when it comes to man and woman, I feel like the real men, not the ones that be beating on females and stuff like that, because you got assholes in any culture.
Mm-hmm.
But the man that actually respects a good woman, a great woman, your queen, the one that runs your house, the one that takes care of your family, you know what I mean? Like, there's a different type of respect, and that's why, Mexican culture, but now in the United States, there's a lot more divorce. Shit, I'm divorced. But in Mexican culture, our parents, it was rare when you heard of people divorcing. They would stick it out, no matter how bad it was. Familia was always together. It's sad that we lost a lot of that because now we're in the United States. The United States is like, fuck everyone. And so I think Mexican machismo with the cooking, I don't think it's really there because taqueros been around for years.
Yeah, yeah.
And men's always been in the kitchen in Mexico, and the whole influence of men being in there. I don't think it's frowned upon. I think they frown upon more like lazy people. You could be making tacos, but you're still doing something.
Right.
You got these people not doing anything, and look way worse than a taquero. Taquero is actually someone like, man, in your barrio, it's like, man, taquero's your dude, man.
Yeah,
like,
you're feeding the community, yeah.
Yeah, almost like your barber at a barbershop. You go to a good taco joint, you got kind of that connection with someone. You could talk to them like a bartender.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I don't think there's any machismo. I mean, and if anyone ever did kind of like try to say something to me, I mean, I'm from the hood. I don't play that bullshit. So it's gonna be some fisticuffs going on.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that, and I love that because I didn't know a whole lot about like the history of taqueros and stuff like that being predominantly men, and I think that's very interesting. I know that culturally I've seen both sides of it, so I really do believe also sometimes in smaller pockets it depends on the family that you grow up from, especially I feel like nowadays it's like the expectations that we have between men and women, and maybe that's not necessarily Mexicanos explicitly, but maybe it's like when you blend, and this is just me theorizing, when you blend American culture and Mexican culture, you get the Tejano culture, and that people don't talk about. That's an entirely different thing altogether, It's
a whole nother monster.
Yeah.
And Tejanos, I mean, even Mexican, in Texas in general, I mean, it's like any culture really, or any race. I mean, you got good people and you got trash.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just how it is. I mean, there's no one race is like, oh, we're the perfect ones. Like we're the chosen ones. Nah, man, it don't work like that. There's gonna always be good and bad in any kind of community and stuff like that. But Latino culture, Latino community and stuff, especially in Texas, like Texas is like a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
When I was going to school, the Tejanos used to look down at us. The people who weren't from Texas or were more Mexicano, and a lot of times we wouldn't even hang out with each other because it's like pinches Tejanos, you know what I mean? Like they think they're white, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Mexicanos from other places, and it's just how because the way they would speak Spanglish, they would mix Spanish with English and stuff. And when I come up as a kid, don't you dare do that. ¿Qué cabrón? Así no se dice. You know what I mean? Like, and then Tejano culture is not because Tejano's been around for forever. They're integrated with American people for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that mixed Spanglish, talking English and Spanish together and stuff. And for me, I think it's cool and funny and stuff. I like it and stuff. I don't mind talking like that. But I remember being a kid, man, couldn't talk like that.
Yeah.
So either English or Spanish, and most of the time I'm like, hey, eres mexicano, cabrón, hablas español. And that's just how it was in our house,
Mm-hmm.
So you predominantly grew up on the north side?
No, so I'm from Southwest side, Detroit. I came over here to Texas, so I'm over here more like by the airport. I grew up by the airport. Fort Worth and all that stuff when I was a little kid, and I was doing lowrider clubs and hanging out with a bunch of kids and stuff. We used to do a lot of lowrider things in North Maine, and that's where I met a lot of the people from Funky Town because I was out in the area where everyone was at and stuff, especially when I was younger, from 13 all the way till I was like 18, hanging out in Barrio North Side, hanging out in the front. But no, whenever we came out here, you gotta understand, I come from Detroit, so I come from slums. And when we got to Texas and everyone was like, oh, Funky Town, it was hood, and Dallas, GP and Pleasant Grove and all that stuff. I'm like, man, this is like a freaking walk in the park, bro. Like, this is a holiday. I'm like, have you been to Detroit? I'm like, have you seen? I'm like, it looks like freaking Iraq, bro. Like, it's bomb and depleted. Back in the day, especially when we were kids, we came from an area where they were burning down houses every freaking devil's night. You know what I mean? And, both houses on each side of our house in Junction Street in Detroit burned down to the ground. You know what I mean? There was corner store, burnt down house, our house, burnt down house. Next door, the guy on the corner, the building across the street from us burnt down. I mean, imagine growing up as a kid seeing all that, and then you get to Texas, and these hoods look nice, man. I was like, man, this is
in comparison, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, so when I came out here and I was hanging out in Fort Worth, seeing like all the gang life and stuff like that, and I was telling them, I was like, man, dude, like, stupid, man, like, you don't want to come from that. I mean, because we come from real bad barrios in Detroit and Chicago and stuff like that, and it's freaking just slummed out. And like, why would you want that for your own community and stuff like that? But it's the culture, it is what it is. And but yeah, no, I'm from Detroit. I came to the mid cities back in the 90s and back and forth from Detroit to Texas, and then strandered off to Kansas and New York and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, so but over here is where I put my businesses at, and because I think DFW, if you got an idea and if you got the will and the freaking ganas to make it in business, man, you can make it in DFW. This is one of the best places in the world to live. I think it's like the New York of the South. A lot of people say it's Houston and San Antonio and Austin. Nah, man, Dallas-Fort Worth is where it's at.
Yeah.
It's so vast and there's so much. It's like a melting pot now. You got people from Cali coming. I'm here. I'm from the Midwest. People from Wisconsin, from New York, Florida. I mean, everyone's moving over here because of the opportunity of owning more and having more for your value and stuff like that. Texas is like where it's at, especially in the DFW.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And you were telling me a little bit before we started recording about some of the skulls in the back, right?
Oh,
and what were you telling me about the green one that you have back there?
Okay, so when we opened our newest restaurant in the Colony, we do skulls in all our restaurants. It's like one of our main things. So if you see skulls anywhere else, they bit off of us.
Okay.
Especially in the DFW. We've been doing it for a while. And so, the skulls and stuff, this is our first main logo that we have, because our first logo when we first started Frezko, I got it from like clip art or something like that. And then my homeboy Ryan Lambert actually made this for me and stuff like that, our own actual logo and our own skull, so we can't have no copyrights problems or anything like that. But these skulls, we got them custom made for customers in Guanajuato, and we got them shipped all the way from Mexico.
It's dope. It's beautiful.
For the restaurant.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
that's crazy.
All right, Mexicano, do you want to show him what we got?
Well, hold on.
Do you have one more question?
Yeah, we got one more.
Okay.
So the main thing that kind of like, prompted my me wanting to reach out in the first place was kind of like, because I saw that Facebook post that you did regarding some of the changes that was coming to the restaurant.
Yeah.
And say again?
The recent one?
Yeah, the more recent one where you kind of I think it was on the Fort Worth foodie page.
Oh yeah, Fort Worth Foodies, man. That's a great spot for
restaurants. Yeah, I love it. I'm obsessed with that.
So when I saw that, and you kind of laid out like, hey, like, cause you kind of like talked about how you've been serving the community for so many years, steady price, getting like great feedback as far as like, the people who really love the restaurant. But just reading it kind of sounded like it was kind of like a pretty big decision on your part to like really do that price increase, and like just to see that reaction from the people in the comments reading how they were still like, for it as far as like supporting you. So I just kind of wanted to get your take on like everything that's happened since then.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been pretty controversial since the start of the pandemic with a lot of stuff. I mean, from shutting down our restaurants, dining rooms way before the orders even came out, because I was already hearing stories from New York about them sticking bodies in freezer trucks. So I made the decision myself to shut down even before there was a mandate. You know, a lot of people thought we were crazy for doing that. And then I did it again when they reopened everything again. I was like, these dumbasses. And so I closed my thing down again because I was like, people are going to freaking get sick and stuff. And so we've been super controversial and then been on Telemundo and all kinds of stuff, you know, interviewing us about decisions that we've made. And this last decision with raising prices, I mean, you almost have to, you know, with the situation that we're in this country right now with supply chain and just everything in general. I mean, everything's going up, wages going up, rent's going up. And, you know, so I finally came to, you know, because I've been getting bugged by my parents, by other friends and family, and like, yo, man, you know, it's about that time, man. Like, you know, things are getting kind of out of hand, you know, and everyone else has been going up. I mean, shit, you can't even get a Five Guys burger for 2 people for less than $40 nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, it's expensive. Anywhere you go right now, it's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those smaller taquerias, they're still selling their dollar tacos and stuff like that. But man, they're scraping the bottom of the pan to get by. You know what I mean? And them selling food that cheap is the reason why they can't even pay their staff well. You know, because they're cutting, you know, to the bare minimum to make, you know, people come and buy food. I mean, who doesn't like a dollar taco?
Right.
Yeah.
You know? But for restaurants, and I mean any restaurant, even for the guys doing that right now, I always talk to them and be like, man, like there's no more dollar taco days, man. Like that, those are in the past. Like you need to, you know, jack it up a little bit and help your staff out, you know, and support your staff, because if we don't have staff, we don't make money. You know, people ain't working, we don't make money as a restaurateur and stuff like that. So your number one investment is your employees. I learned that from a great entrepreneur, you know, his name is Tony Aquila. He was actually the owner of Solera. I mean, this guy, billionaire. I was his personal chef, still his personal chef. You know, I cooked for his company. I was cooking for 300 people a day for 4 days a week for 3 years for that guy. So I've done all kinds of food, you know, Italian, you know, Mexican, all kinds of stuff. And that man, I saw how he treated his employees. He would feed them. And I was like, man, this is crazy, man. He would feed them every day, sometimes breakfast and lunch. And they would have all the snacks in the world. And I mean, it was just an awesome environment to work in. I mean, it was a lot to take in when I was first learning how to do catering. I learned how to do catering because of that man, because he gave me a challenge. He was like, hey, you want to come and cook for my guys? Well, yeah, why not? And then it came to be like, hey, you want to cook for us 2 days a week? Yeah, why not? And then, hey, can you cook for 300 people 4 days a week? Shit, just give me Monday to buy food and get everything ready for you.
Why
and
not?
3 years straight, I was doing literally iron kitchen, like iron chef every day of the week. You know, like every day I would have to come up with a new menu. And so I learned a lot from that situation about taking care of your employees and feeding them. There's restaurants in Dallas, Fort Worth, you know, especially in Fort Worth. I don't know so much about Dallas because I don't really mess with that side. But Fort Worth, you know, there's a lot of taquerias, man, and a lot of taco owners that, man, they treat their people bad. And that's Mexicanos, you know, treating their own people bad. You know what I mean? Telling them, oh, we didn't have enough sales, you know, so I can't pay you this week. You know, stuff like that. I've heard all kinds of horror stories from my staff that work with us now. You know, and you know, when we first started, we were paying about a little bit, like $3 more than minimum wage. We were starting people at like $10 an hour, you know, and 13 on the grills and stuff like that. And we're a taqueria, you know, we're in a 5-star steakhouse and stuff. And then when all this stuff started to go on, you know, I made a decision. I was like, you know, just hearing what's going on with their stories about what they have to do. I mean, a lot of our cooks were working 2-3 jobs, you know, just to put food on the table, you know. And I'm like, man, this is not right. I mean, these people, you know, bust their ass for us, you know what I mean? And I love my chefs to death, man. You know, Rebecca, Ruben, Pablo. We got a new guy named Daniel. You know, Brian and Cruz. You know, they're my managers. And Margarito, my dude's been with me since the jump. You know, and but they've been with me for a while because we take so good care of our staff. You know, and with that price increase, we can even do better now. Now we're starting people off at $12 an hour. You know, for kitchen line prep and for register clerk. You know, most taquerias don't pay that. They'll pay
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They sure as hell don't. Yeah.
And now our chefs, the ones that work in the grills and stuff, are making, you know, $15 to $18 an hour. You know, now our managers are making $17 to $20 an hour. You know, that's a taqueria, man. And another taqueria in Fort Worth paying their people that much money and stuff, you know what I mean? But you look at it and you're like, man, dude, like, I don't have anything if it weren't for my employees. Yeah, the food's great. The food's awesome, what we do, the environment that we have, and what we've done as a company. But Frezko ain't Frezko without the staff. You know what I mean? It is what it is, you know what I mean? And we get customers that jump on Yelp, you know, or jump on any kind of review page and do nasty reviews about, oh, it's taking too long, or it doesn't taste like what my abuelita, me voy a obviously cabrones de hecho abuelita food, you know what I mean? Or American people trying to, you know, bash on Mexican restaurants thinking they know what
acting
real
like
Mexican
they know
food
something when they don't.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
but you have to swallow your pride a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I've gone off on people on Yelp. I'm not a nice person when it comes to, and a lot of people are like, you don't do that. Oh, man, fuck that. Like, I like, you know, if the dude that was on the very top could talk shit out of his ass, I can talk shit out of my ass too. So if he can do it, I can do it. So, you know, and so, you know, yeah. So when it comes to like what it is, you know, you have to raise your prices to afford to pay your staff the way you want to pay them. You know, I didn't take a raise. I gave them raises, you know what I mean? But I'm fine where I'm at. You know, as long as I got my bills paid, you know, my son's got a roof over his head, he's got food in his belly, you know, and my family's well taken care of, man. I don't give a damn about the money and stuff, man. Like, it's more about the love for feeding people. I mean, I've gone to, you know, the homeless shelters with, you know, the harvest workers, with Rod Harris, you know, and feed the veterans out in Rosedale, on Lancaster. I do it like 3-4 times a year. You know, the battered women's shelter in Fort Worth. You know, I've gone feed all kinds of people. That's where my money goes to. You know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah, you can have a nice house, you can have cars and stuff, you know, because yeah, you bust your ass, you deserve that. But, you know, you have to also, you know, give back, I mean, full-fledged to your community and stuff like that. And in Fort Worth, especially, you know, we've done a lot for Fort Worth with the pandemic, you know, during the great ice storm of last year, you know, this year.
Yeah.
You know, when restaurants were closed, we literally had our food truck parked in the parking lot, and we were literally running orders out to customers. I busted my ass, I don't know how many times on ice. But we didn't want our customers to get help. But we were like literally one of the only restaurants on that side of Fort Worth operating where people can actually get a meal. We were serving free caldo, frijoles, charros in both locations to people who couldn't afford to eat when everything was, you know, shut down with the snowstorm. So a lot of the community comes out and supports us and stuff. And then another thing is that I never opened my restaurants in the barrio. You know, in the barrio it's tough to go up in price because you're going up against everybody and their mama with $1.25
mom and pop shops, yeah,
taco, stuff like that. And so when I got into the business, I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna go down to the barrio and steal food out of my own people's mouths. I'm like, I'm not in it for this. I'm in it to knock out Chipotle. I'm in it to rub it in Torchy's and Fuzzy's face. You know what I mean? I'm in it to show them that a young kid from the barrio can come out of there and do exactly what they're doing with the big corporate dollars. You know what I mean? And I have zero debt in my restaurants. You know, I'm fortunate that I was able to do what I did and I made a lot of smart choices on my way to get there. But I don't beg no money. You know what I mean? And a lot of restaurateurs don't have that up in life. So they either have someone backing them or they pulled out a loan, they put up their house and stuff. Like, you know, I made a lot of right decisions and did a lot of good things over the years and stuff. And I was able to open my businesses without help, you know, and that's almost impossible to do for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, and if you do it, you got to have capital in restaurants to be able to flourish. If you don't have capital, you're going to struggle real hard, and then your quality goes down, and then everything else goes down, which includes wages. You know, so we talked about, you know, adding prices, the hike and stuff, anywhere from $1 to 25 cents. You know, and I look at it right now, I mean, everyone's paying up the butt, you know, like everyone's paying a lot, you know, and we're in a suburb area where people can afford to spend an extra 50 cents to $1, and it's not going to hurt them. You know what I mean? You go to the barrio, you go up 50 cents, it could hurt someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when they're making $8, $7 an hour. and then you got some of these owners not paying them on top of it. You know what I mean? Like, so for us, when I was out there, you know, a lot of people, business people that I know, you know, because I get calls from everyone. I've done a lot of caterings all over the Metroplex. I've cooked for Mrs. Walton for Walmart. You know, I've cooked for some real high-end, you know, CEOs in the country and stuff like that because of Mr. Aquila. You know, I was fortunate enough to meet people, and so I've gotten so much feedback, and they're like, man, your food's good, man. You could charge whatever you want. They're gonna pay for it, you know, because you get a lot for what you buy. You get fresh quality beef. You're not using frozen meats. You're not using canned foods. You know, we even disconnect the freezer in our walk-ins because I don't believe in freezers. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in fresh food. I believe in using every single piece on any single thing that we use in the restaurant. We have the only waste that we really have at the restaurant is like cardboard boxes. Because I literally use everything. Like, I don't mess around. You know, even the butts of the romaine lettuce, I send them off to a guy who has a big farm. You know, everything gets used at the restaurant. And so pretty much it's all plastics and stuff. And with plastics being a big part of restaurants, you know, to-go orders, especially right now in COVID, our costs have doubled, tripled. You know, plastic wares and dry food packaging has gone through the roof. You know, and it's almost impossible to not raise your prices because of the cost of to-go equipment and to-go containers. I mean, it's like a struggle just to find foam cups. I mean, you're like literally fighting with other restaurants to get there early to the supply houses, man, and people be getting into arguments in there because there's like no supply. So it's been tough these last couple of months, you know, and we do so much to-goes now because of COVID. I mean, it's smart and it's responsible to do that, to hike up the prices and stuff like that. And on top of it, we have to take care of our staff and we have to pay our staff. We also have a bank within our restaurant where we do zero interest loans to our own employees. You know, so we do a lot of stuff to help them out and stuff to get to places. And if they get in trouble, you know, they can't pay their car note, you know, we loan them the money and stuff and give them zero interest payments. You know, and to do that, to have a better workforce, to have a happier, you know, culture in your kitchen and where everything's, you know, moving like a well-oiled machine, man, you gotta take care of your staff. And the only way we can take care of our staff is that we gotta hike up the prices, man, because it's expensive right now. I mean, where we were turning, you know, good profits, you know, now they're kind of, you know, 30% lower, 20% lower because 30% is what gone up in prices. You know, so we got to make up that gap, you know, and so, I mean, you can only do so many caterings. You can only do so many taco trucks. You can only do so many weddings. I mean, I've done personal chefs. I mean, I was just in Wyoming a month ago, you know, cooking at this beautiful resort out there in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, you know, for these high-end people and stuff like that, you know, and like, you know, doing all that stuff goes straight to my restaurant. I mean, all that extra work that I do just goes straight to my staff, straight to the cause. You know, we got to keep pushing Frezko. I mean, it's a different type of taqueria, but it's your own taqueria. You know, it's what tacos are supposed to be. We just give the option to people to put more stuff on them because in any other taqueria, you're getting charged extra for cheese. We don't do that. You get charged extra for crema. We don't do that. You get charged extra for pico de gallo. You know, we don't do that. You know, most restaurants, cilantro, cebolla, vámonos.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you start asking for cheese, sour cream, and stuff. They're like, whoa, you know, it's $25.
25 cents. See, an extra quarter, an extra 50 cents. See.
And so we don't do that. We don't even hike up the price for flour tortillas because you know a lot of restaurants they charge more for flour.
Yeah, they do.
Charge a simple base price, you know, and we give you the option to put whatever the hell you want in it without jacking up the price. Yeah, they're a little bit more expensive than your normal taqueria, but your normal taqueria is not giving you 2 ounces in each taco. Your normal taqueria is not giving you free frijoles charros with your order of tacos. You know what I mean? When you're at the restaurant, you know, you're not getting almost 2 pounds of nachos for $12, you know, like how we do it. You know, the Chicano fries, they're huge at a restaurant, you know, but yeah, you pay a little bit more, but man, you're getting, I mean, when we started doing the nachos and the fries, you know, I made them to be that big because I wanted to be able to feed a family of 3 or 4 for $12. You know, you can't even do that at McDonald's.
No, you really can't. You really can't. I think if there was a United States of taqueria, chef, you should run for president. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah. We love everything that you have to say. I think that how you approach your business, not just from obviously like a money standpoint, but also like that it's people based and it's people founded and it's about the community that you create around you. It's just gorgeous to see, and it shows a lot of conviction. So I mean, we're glad to have this conversation with you. And with that,
yeah. So we were kind of pushing it at the start of the show. The reason I kind of show up late is because I had to go somewhere, and that place I went to.
We want to kind of follow in your son's footsteps and kind of do a review of our own right now from this little place.
Yeah.
Black, but you can't get them black anymore.
Oh, okay.
What? Sorry, I
the
didn't
black
hear that.
the box used to be black.
Oh, okay. Well, this is my first time ever even seeing the tacos, so wow. Okay.
And you got them to go, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
for any review, you can't give a real review of tacos until you eat them there.
Right. Yeah.
It when it's in a box, it's like pizza.
Yeah.
You got the tacos. It's not gonna taste the same when you eat it right there.
That's true. Well, maybe one day we'll go on location.
Yeah, I like to invite you guys out, and I want to cook for you myself.
Okay.
You can see what Frezko really is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But we want to go ahead. Which two types
so
of
it was two carnitas, then two barbacoa.
Okay. Which one's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite is the carnitas.
Yeah.
The carnitas, and my ultimate favorite are the shrimp tacos. Our Baja shrimp tacos.
Ooh, yeah, I'm a sucker for a good shrimp taco. Okay.
Let's see. So this is the.
I think that's the carnitas.
You get them on corn or flour?
That's it. Corn.
Corn.
On corn?
Yeah.
So if you're in Fort Worth, you drove, man, that's a long time.
Oh yeah, it was like 20 minutes. Right at 35. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I recommend you guys to go out there, and if you guys ever want to, man, I'll make sure to throw down for y'all.
No, thank you. These are delicious. Oh my gosh.
A lot of meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're right, porque sabes que some taquerias, like they'll just put like a little bit of meat and then cover the rest with cilantro and cebolla y es todo. But no, these are packed.
Yeah, so when it comes to our tacos, I mean, a lot of people la salsa, like, man, dude, I'm from the norte. I'm from, Cerrado, Nuevo León. Carne, man, like your meat's got to be on point. That's true. If you have great meat, all you need is limon, and you can eat a taco without salsa.
That's true. That's true. You got to marinate
you have
right,
a real good taco if you can eat it without salsa.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
I mean, salsa covers up a lot of stuff.
That's the carnitas right there.
The carnitas?
That's the carnitas, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, you know what's surprising me is I didn't know about the frijoles charro. That's what's tripping me out. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So I get that idea from my town in Mexico, in Cerralbo. Most of the places over there, when you go get tacos, they always give you charro beans. And over there in Mexico, they're frijoles mantecoso, que le dicen, like a little bit smaller beans. And and I was just always fascinated by, like, man, you get the little appetizer before you eat your tacos. And here in the United States, a lot of places, I think places that put chips and salsa shouldn't be called Mexican restaurants, because that's not how they do it in Mexico.
No, that's not. That's not.
And
that's
so
Tex-Mex right there.
It's super Tex-Mex, and yellow cheese and stuff like that, man. It throws me off. Like, you won't find yellow cheese at a restaurant.
No, I have that same passion. Chef, about enchiladas. Like, that's my favorite Mexican food of all time. Like, you give me like a straight up authentic plate of enchiladas, I will like tear up. I get that emotional because it's rooted in my childhood, right? But if you take me to a restaurant and I see any kind of yellow cheese on, no, like get that shit away from me. I'm not even going.
Chile con carne and stuff like that.
Pero sí entiendo.
The original enchiladas, son enchiladas potosinas, that real deep red sauce.
Yes.
And cebolla. That's
the real stuff.
That's it. No, but it was amazing. I can't wait to dig into the frijoles charro then later, because that's like one of my all-time favorite foods as well. Before we go, where can we find you as far as like social media, like the restaurant Instagram or your own personal one?
Same as the IG, the Facebook, and all that. It's same as the restaurant. So it's gonna be at Frezko Taco Spot. If you want to find me on IG, it's FTS_Salinas. That's my personal page, my own chef page. But yeah, Frezko Taco Spot is where you find us at and stuff. You see the skull with the green sunglasses. You already know. People already know when they see green, black, and white. They know it's Frezko. Like, we stand out.
Damn straight.
And there's a reason why we did what we did with our logos and how why we came up with the name Frezko and stuff, because I couldn't afford $1 million to buy Frezko.com the way it's spelled. So I had to change the ZKO.
Okay.
I love it though. It's different.
Quick, simple.com. Let's go. You know what I mean? So that's why, the name came from what it was. And it wasn't even going to be a taqueria at first. It was going to be an agua fresca stand. Yeah, so it first came up with the concept with agua fresca, but that building told me no. So it ended up, I kind of changed it up a little bit. Still had the agua frescas, but made it into tacos.
The rest is history. The rest is history.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Chef. It was fantastic. This was fucking great. This was awesome. And thank you for taking the time out to talk to us.
No, it was a pleasure, guys. Muchas gracias por hablarme and reaching out. Thanks to Smooth, especially. He's always, been a good dude to me, and we've both collaborated, for different things, and we've always been helping each other out. And that dude right there, he's for the barrio, man, for real, man. That dude right there is Mr. Fort Worth.
Yeah.
He is straight up.
Born and raised Fort Worth.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a product of Detroit. I'm a stranger to this land. But yeah, man, knowing people like Smooth, man, that is Mr. Fort Worth, man. That dude has done a lot for the community, and I can always see him going further and further more, man. I mean, from whenever I first met him, and he was doing hip hop, and everyone was a lot younger back then, But yeah, that dude right there, man. He's Mr. Fort Worth, man, straight up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chef. Thank you. You have a good rest of your night, and we'll be talking again real soon.
I don't know. Hey, y'all call me. Make sure they holler at me.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
for sure,
we will. We will.
All right,
have a good night.
Take care.
All right, bendiciones. Gracias.
And we are back. Thank you again to Master Chef of Frezkos Tacos. Sorry. Let me retract that. Frezkos Tacos. Get it right. I really appreciate the interview. It was fantastic, and it was good meeting your kiddo behind the scenes too. Probably the cutest kid I've ever met in my fucking life.
Next to your sisters?
Oh yeah, no, never mind. Sorry, third cutest kid ever. But still, great minya. Thank you again, Chef.
Yeah, great person. I loved it.
Yeah, for sure. And now we were gonna move on to our next topic, right? Actually, no, it was more food tied, because I was actually thinking about this right before the interview, because there's always a constant debate about what constitutes and what does not constitute as actual Mexican food, right? But we never really have a battle of what is the whitest Mexican food. And
yeah. So when you say whitest, do you just mean like the dish itself, or are you talking about more about like the things that you would add it to make it white as hell? Because I feel like there's like a clear difference. Like, like there's certain things you can have be Mexican, and then the moment you add something, you're like, you ruined it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of like you and enchilada and the yellow cheese.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. The minute that you add yellow cheese on top of anything, whether it's taco, the first and foremost way you can turn a taco into a taco is adding yellow cheese on it, for sure.
Yeah.
And same thing with enchiladas. Then you, I guess, turn them into what? Enchiladas, or however it is.
Enchiladas.
Sure. Yeah. That's how. See, I can't even do it right. But
I would. So let me go first. So if I had to like just bare bones go off, top of the dome, when I see sour cream added to any type of Mexican food, it's kind of over at that point, in my opinion.
And here I am going to start showing my true colors. Isn't crema just like sour cream's cousin?
Crema is, but not sour cream. Not Daisy. Like, to me, like the American version of sour cream does not go well with Mexican food, is what I'm saying. Like, I
don't think I eat enough sour cream to really differentiate the difference then.
You have crema mexicana, you have crema salvadoreña, which, like, that's a debate within itself. Like, growing up in my household, like, what was better? Salvadorian one, by the way. But
wouldn't know the difference, not yet.
Yeah, but I think like the Daisy, like that type of sour cream on Mexican food is kind of like a very American thing, and like usually you won't find it a lot in like traditional Mexican food, but the moment you in Tex-Mex, it's all around. You know, you're gonna find it in Tex-Mex,
Yeah.
like immediately. But
For
if
sure.
you were to bring that into Mexican food, because I've had people like eat authentic Mexican food around me, and they'll ask like legitimately like the person at the restaurant, you have any sour cream, something like that. I'll be like, what? Like, no, they're not gonna have any of that there.
Crema, but they just don't know how to ask for it. You know?
Maybe, but I'm pretty sure they're thinking Davy because that's all they know. All they know is Davy.
Yeah. Like I said, my hang up is always the yellow cheese on top of anything else. And also, like, let's just talk about completely made up Americanized versions of Mexican food that has not ever actually existed in the depths of Mexico, and that is obviously nachos.
Yeah, nachos.
Like, nachos are not a real thing. Nachos do not exist in any sort of Latin country that I know of.
No, they don't. And now, Eliazar did shout out that they have nachos at Frezkos, but I'm sure that they spun it in a way to where,
So not authentic.
because tortilla chips, on its own aren't not Mexican, right?
Yeah.
You can form it in a way to where like these tortilla chips could be banging as hell and still have that authentic taste. So it could be done. But when you're talking about your traditional, you can get these at the county fair, at the football game.
At the concession stand football. I have a best friend who literally that is her favorite food in the entire world. And I'm not gonna knock her, because comfort food be comfort foods.
Look, when you come from the hood and you have to go to that gas station that be serving them the microwave nachos, those things are life.
That 25-cent cheese, like it goes hard for some people.
Those things,
just not your girl.
That is life.
With those paper thin ass tortillas, like I hate those. Like usually the thinner, the more I can't say them.
Microwave nachos, Vero. I would see them pour the chili from the can, pour the yellow cheese, the most American yellow cheese.
My bougie ass cannot. Most
Mexican thing on there was the vinegar jalapenos. That's probably the most Mexican thing you could get. But to me, you want to get even worse than that type of nachos. To me, chimichangas.
Chimichanga. What's the difference between a chimichanga and a burrito?
Deep fried.
Oh, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think I've ever had a chimichanga. I've always heard the words.
Deep fried burrito. So chimichangas actually started in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Because I've always heard people talk about them. People make a joke about it. I think there's like some sort of inside joke or song in high school that people used to sing about it. But I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just like another burrito. Yeah. So it's just a deep fried burrito.
Deep fried burrito. Yeah. Oh. And burritos within themselves, burritos are tricky because burritos are very Mexican. They are, because that's the word. That's where the word came from Mexico. Los burritos, a little donkey. That's what they will call them.
Yeah.
So but you would have to stuff it with the right things. They're not that, and that's the key thing. What you put in a burrito here is not what they do in Mexico.
Okay, fair enough.
Like so it's very. I'm just saying it's very tricky. Like where here you might put in the traditional like sour cream and like ground.
So fucking elitist.
And the yellow ground beef.
Like
the yellow ground, like the greasy yellow ground beef, and then whatever else you have. Like you're not gonna find that in Mexico. Obviously, it's gonna be like barbacoa. It's gonna be carnita. It's gonna be pastor in your burrito, and that's more like up north too. Because you go down to like West Coast Mexico, like Michoacan. Well, not Michoacan, but like Guerrero, Sinaloa, Nayarit. You're not really gonna find that type of food in that area. It's there, but it's not as popular because like you're by the sea. So seafood is obviously going to be more popular. That's where my parents from, my mom. So I know that part of Mexico is more catered towards seafood than anything else.
Yeah, and also, at the end of the day, people are going to like whatever they like. Like again, like fajitas aren't a real Mexican food to my knowledge either, right?
No fajita, but they're a staple in Texas. Like
that's what we call Tejano food. That is what we call legitimately Tex-Mex, and that, like I said, that is a cuisine in and of itself. And I'm not here to tell you like how you can or cannot live. You like what you like, whatever. But just know, Veronica Perez is judging you. You're okay with that.
And just to like kind of cap it off, like. It's so white, fajitas, that Mexican people who come from Mexico.
So your fajita's so white.
So European.
How white is it?
Yeah. So they're so white that when Mexican people come from Mexico, they look at it and they look at it as something completely foreign. They look at it as the most American thing you could get. Because when my dad ordered fajitas, they're not looking at this as Mexican food. They're like, oh, this is fajita. This is what I learned what existed over here on this side of the border.
Because both your parents are immigrants.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, they look at this and like, this is not what Mexican food is. This is good. Don't get me wrong. It could be good, but this is not Mexican food.
Yeah, for sure. And that was our segment called giving the not Mexican food the dozens, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to end this podcast with your age-old favorite, Good Looking Out. This is we go ahead and we tell you what we've been watching, what we've been catching, what people we have been following lately, new movies, music, all that good stuff. So what do you have for me, Ricardo?
So for my Good Looking Out, and you kind of caught some of this, actually, because I was watching it a couple days ago. I've been watching it here and there on and off. So I finally watched the 4-part documentary on Amazon about LulaRich.
Oh, okay. So explain to people who have no fucking idea what LulaRich is.
So before I get into that, the documentary name is LulaRich. So a little play on words when it comes to the name of the company. But LulaRich, for those who are not aware, apparently you don't follow moms and other type of people on Facebook if you haven't heard of LulaRich. But
white moms and approximately 45 years of age.
Yeah. So the LulaRich, in a sense, is a multi-level marketing company who caters mainly to women to sell their products, which consist of a variety of things in the beginning. Like,
you guys remember those ugly ass leggings that people used to wear with the like weird ass geometric style that looked like, a rainbow threw up on them?
I was gonna get there.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was gonna do that. Thank you, Vero.
Now,
they eventually did get it. That's what they became known for. But originally, when they started, it was a wide assortment of things. You had blouses, you had maxi skirts, which was like the big pop off. Really, they had the maxi. That was like what they were known for before they hit it off with the leggings. Now the leggings, once they came out with that and they had all these crazy, weird, gaudy designs on it, that's what popped off, and that's what really got people on the bandwagon to be like, you know what? Hey, I want to start selling LulaRich, because that's what they did, right? That you would go to them, you would be onboarded. That's what they call it, to become a retailer. That's what you're called once you're onboarded, and you would have to purchase a package of clothing. And mind you, this isn't cheap. You would be paying just startup costs, probably $1,000, just $1,000 off, just to get the basic like package of like, all right, you're gonna get these clothes, you're gonna get these blouses, these pants, whatever.
Your responsibility to sell them.
Now you're gonna sell
for a profit.
Yes. And they made buku bucks. They were going crazy. Like LulaRich was, had money coming in from every direction, but as you start digging deeper behind the owners and all that, you start learning that a lot of the morals behind the company was really weird. One of the big red flags from the very beginning was like the no return policies. Like, you had this clothes and essentially you were pretty much stuck with it if you couldn't sell it. And the majority of people who became retailers, the 80% of them, like when you look at the pyramid, of retailers, the bottom 80% is not ever going to reach that pinnacle, that top. So it's a very cutthroat thing, and most people don't ever make any type of profit. In fact, you lose more than you ever, make.
All they are doing is selling you a dream, so
they
to
are.
speak, right? So this was a 4-part documentary, right? And you, of all people, watch the most random shit that I would never connect to you, but somehow, like, I don't know, your well of knowledge never.
I'm here to put people up on game. Like, they think
about LulaRich.
Look, they think I'm just watching Kanye documentaries on YouTube all day, but then I hit you up with a LulaRich review, and like, you never know what to expect from me. But
you are the spice of life, Mexicano variety.
Yeah, something like that. But so yeah, it's very enthralling. It's very sickening at some points to like see kind of like the way they would like treat like not only like their retailers, but just how they would never really give them like any inch to really progress within the business, but also just like the staff and just kind of like how it would encourage like people at the very top, right? So you had like the retailers that were like coaches, I believe, was like the highest rank, because you had like a rank structure. Coaches was the highest rank, and they were known to make like $60,000 a month just based off their downline. So the people below them. So, you know, you have, like I said, it's a pyramid scheme in a sense where you have the coach, then they have a downline, and then they have a downline, et cetera, and then the very top person at the top is making the majority of the money.
The definition of a pyramid scheme.
And yeah, and just to give a little bit more detail, a pyramid scheme basically becomes a pyramid scheme because the MLM on its own, multi-level marketing, is not illegal.
Can you save some information for them to find out on the documentary?
No, this is pretty basic.
God.
But
Okay.
this is basic stuff. You can find out about the stuff without even watching the documentary.
It's not like we're already running an hour 20 in, but
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
But once you start making revenue and profits off of the people that you're recruiting, other than the product, that's where it turns into a pyramid scheme. I believe the Federal Trade Commission says that you need to, most of your revenue needs to be 70% of your business. And if it's not, then you start going into like murky water. So it's a lot of information in there, stinky leggings, all that. So watch it for yourself. Amazon, LulaRich.
Ugly ass clothes.
Yeah, disgusting. The disgusting owners too.
How many Ricardo stars does it get?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. All
Yeah,
right.
amazing.
4-part documentary on Lulu wrote 8 out of 10 Ricardo stars.
Yeah.
All right. And what I have for you guys this week, I'm just going to make it short and sweet. It's more of a good looking out announcement than anything else. So I made a review of this show probably last season or 2 seasons ago. So this is the show Gentefied that's on Netflix. Basically, it is about a group of 20-somethings living in a not border city, but like a South LA
Barrio.
Yeah, but I forget the exact name of the
In East
town.
LA?
Anyway, I think East LA. Yeah.
Yeah.
East LA. You know, trying to save basically their grandpa's taco shop y todo eso. Anyway, so season 1 came out. I fell in love with it. It came out like probably right in the beginning of COVID season, right? So that means that they already had done all the filming, all the production, all of this, that, and the other. And of course, as with many shows lately, it has taken a while to kick steam back up again and to get like rocking and rolling with all of the new stuff going on, especially like because you don't want to sacrifice good storyline or good production or just anything, and also you don't want to sacrifice your safety. So because of that, I'm here to say that November 10th, Gentefied season 2 is set out to premiere on Netflix, and I am relatively excited because, spoiler alert, it's been a year and a half, you'll live, that at the end of season 1, their grandfather got deported. So we're going to see. Yeah, that's okay. You should have caught up.
Yeah. I remember. No, I remember.
Oh,
and then,
did you watch it?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember you watching it.
I watched it all. We watched it together.
No, you didn't. I was still living in my mom's. I was still like sleeping in my little sister's room in my mom's house.
So we didn't watch
you
together.
Imagined that.
We definitely talked about it all the time then. That means you would text me a lot, tell me about it.
We used to do Facebook Lives. That's what you're thinking about.
That's probably what it was. That was saying we would talk about it after I would watch an episode.
Yeah. But I had already seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, season 2, November 10th.
That's crazy.
And so they're finally coming back. And I'm super hyped about it. So I would definitely check it out. It's got a kind of on my block feel, but not as obnoxious, in my opinion. So I give it a solid like 8 out of 10 Veronica stars, even though I haven't seen it yet. But here's hoping.
What?
Yeah.
How can you rate it like that?
Because the anticipation is giving me 8 out of 10 stars of excitement.
I can't remember what I gave the show originally. I'm not gonna rate it right now. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Like it wasn't like the show didn't wow me the first season, but hopefully this one does. Like I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm hyped. Okay, and with that, you guys, it's our show. Thank you again to our guest, Master Chef from Frezkos Tacos. And thank you, Frankie, for like falling asleep and doing absolutely nothing. Love you.
He's had a rough week.
Yeah. Okay, and with that, this has been In Living Spanglish, mi gente. We love you. We're out.
Oh.
My hope is that you see how Spanglish has closed the gap and formed a synergistic approach for communication. Thank you.